Hey, gang. I missed everybody yesterday, although I seem to be talking to them now. I'm afraid I didn't feel very well, and I can tell already my temperature's starting to climb again. So I'll probably drop this as quick as I can. That doesn't mean it'll be better. It's for entertainment purposes, and hopefully I'll be here all week. If y'all do something for me out there so I can keep this channel hopping, get it going off the ground, I need you to hit the like. Need you hit the bell. That's a subscription. It's free. Just dings you, as you probably already know, to let you know I've dropped a new one. Generally, I do this between 10 and 12 every day. Today, I might be a little off. I'm not sure. I got to watch on. Never know. Yeah, little, I made it. But it's not been an easy couple of days. Um, I see where they went into Rafah. I see where America turned. Now I turned this back on Israel, but I mean, kicked them in the face when they were doing it, as far as I'm concerned. Um, Jerusalem is a holy place to not just the Jewish state, as they like to call it. I call them the Jewish country. Apparently, Gaza is a country and Israel is only a state. Yeah, really that bad, man. So it's either a hot flash, like I said, or my temp's going up. I thought, okay, I'm going to drop one today at least because it felt well enough. I thought so we're shaky. The last one I put up on Wednesday, I wasn't feeling good actually by Wednesday afternoon, and I had already dropped one in the can, and so I didn't think too much about it. And I had been to the store, and again, I didn't think too much about it. And you start to slack off things because it's not being done or whatever, but the hand sanitizer, all that stuff. So I might have picked something up, a little bug, a virus. I don't know. It's been brutal. At my age, everything's freaking brutal. It's just brutal. I don't have headaches anymore. I have massive, massive migraines. And it's not the kids. Kids are grown. It's not the grandkids. Most of them are grown. Both my son's son and my husband's daughter's oldest son. Same with my son. It's his oldest child, the son. They both went Army. My grandson is home from my son. My grandson is home from Korea, and he's now a civilian. Um, we were so surprised because my stepdaughter's oldest boy was being trained at BAMC at San Antonio, Fort Sam Houston, which I loved that place. It was one of my first stations, and I ran it. So I had carte blanche. All officers. The only bad thing was I was always doing something, polishing brass. Now they're just sticking out Velcro. It just, it just doesn't come across to me anyway as a very good look. It's kind of rather sloppy. I can understand it. It was desert for 20 years. And then, of course, Afghanistan was 20 years, and it's like rocks and dirt. It's kind of like I challenged everybody last time. I think when I was here Wednesday to say, hey, can anybody tell me? And I borrowed this from Cat Waves. Love Cat Waves. Hey, boo. Could anybody tell me what the uniform of the Afghanistan Army looks like? And I waited. Of course, nobody fell into that one. And I'm like, it's Nike t-shirts, sweatpants, and sandals. So why are we there? I hated the way they left Bagram, how many people died, how many people they left to die. We don't hear about that no more, you notice. Don't know. That's fine too. Apparently we Americans, or the people of the United States, don't give a rat's furry butt about none of that stuff. I really hate to champion a lost cause, but we kind of do one though. You better stay right there. That's my pixie. You can come over here and pick some up. So, yeah, I didn't see much of a change, except, like I said, we turned our backs and kicked him in the face and tried to tell another nation, which has been attacked in such a horrible manner, that they cannot defend themselves or their people unless it's approved, apparently, by the United States. I'm not sure how that works. Pick some up. I'm sorry, guys. I now become the cat lady. I might as well just accept that and go. I'm being kind of stuck. And it's her whisker. She's looking over my screen. Get down, you furry ball. Go, 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 go. She just sat down on the bar. It's not a bad enough day. I don't want to shoot the computer. Pick some. Go, 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 go. Oh, she's absolutely refusing to go. Okay, stay there. If you can stay there without hitting the camera, I'm okay with that. That tail is hers. Or if you can see it, I'm not sure. Oh, you can see my other Chromebook. I'm sorry, guys. My house is a disaster. It was one day. I actually had cleaned the entire house starting Tuesday night through Wednesday until I finally fell out about 10 o'clock. And I have not slept since then. Whatever this has me in the grips, I know, Pix. I'm sorry, honey. That has me so. Ugh, has really, it got me. So I didn't get as much done as I should have, I thought. Then I came out of my room and on Thursday morning about 6 when I always do for the cats. Because the outside, I have to step over the outside cats on the stoop because they're waiting. So I try not to keep them waiting too long. And Pixie here, my Pixie, yeah, she is pushy like me. So I took right to her. But she gets a little too pushy. And right now with the kitten, I don't know if anybody actually saw, I had brought her in. I was feeding her one morning. I think it was like last week. Picks him up. Mm. See, I can't just do anything today. Come here. Come here. She's wanting to see me. And I just soaked her for that privilege, and that's terrible of me. Uh, See, that's okay, Mom. I needed some water. You got to come down. Just here. How about that? Whoop. Cats can fly. No. I almost have a tendency to start over, but I'm just, if nothing else, I'm just as stubborn as she is. She will get over, I hope. And yes, I missed. Anyway, got up Thursday, felt like terrible, way terrible. Hadn't had any sleep at all. The husband had stuff to do. And he'd been washing bedding and stuff since he knew I wasn't up to it. And he left that in a mess. So the laundry area was now a mess. In the kitchen, I have all the plates for the kittens. And there she is. It's coffee. Do you want? No, no, no. It is entertaining. It's I can't say how good of an entertainment, but it's entertaining the hell out of me. Pixie, wait. Pixie, wait. They miss me out here. And if I transfer to the living room, so in other words, everything I'm doing is pretty much localized to the bedroom. I got so sick yesterday and Wednesday night. And I didn't think I was going to feel up to this morning, but I kind of went with one of those army, pick up your bootstraps and get going kind of thing. I can't just lay about and say, oh, I'm going to sleep. You're not getting that back. So you might as well just go. I haven't had time to even do my nails or any of that, or at least felt up to it. I had the time because I didn't come on, like I said yesterday, for several reasons. No. Mainly the kitten. No. So I'm going to be doing this through the whole show, it looks like. Pixie, stop that. Stop. Stop it. Shh. Don't look at me like that. She was my last one that was on a bottle. That one of our friends came over and Robert was tending bar. And I gave him Pixie. And I gave her to him and asked him to finish feeding her so I could feed the others. And one of the guys that's one of Robert's good friends and mine as well was floored by watching Robert feed the cat with a bottle. He never knew that could be done. He'd never seen it done. And I was like, well, have you ever seen TV? They do with penguins. I mean, it's just so I still think that's kind of cute and funny. So I said, okay, today's the day. Because even if I'm sick, I can still jump in the shower as far as that goes. I may not do the rest of the hide the granny face thing, but I can try. And it's just not that doable. That was her tail. Yeah. If nothing else, baby, grab this off of here and put it on the funny cats thing because I'm never going to do it. And at this rate, I'm never going to have enough energy to try. and I keep losing my thumb because I keep trying to get the cat and not hurt her or nothing. I just want her to settle down till I'm done, as I am still at the bar because Robert has things he has to do, and by the time he catches up, it's like Sunday's Mom's Day. So I have one child. I have a son. I have a stepdaughter. So I technically have two children, but our daughter lives below Macon, so we don't see her as much. Um, and her kids are coming down to the nest too. She's got her youngest at home. So she's going to have to go through that empty nest syndrome, even probably with one at home. And yeah, my temperature must be soaring because I'm just between the cat and the headache and the sweating of all of the spondo. This is probably one of the worst I have ever dropped, but maybe one of the funniest. We'll have to wait and see. I am doing my coffee this morning in a larger cup, as you can see. It's my beautiful Savannah cup. Isn't that beautiful? I love how they did that. That's one of my souvenirs. And I used to use it daily, but I was drinking too much coffee. Long story longer. Didn't get any sleep last night either. So now I'm just kind of like on that, that roller coaster you get to when you've not slept and you're overtired and you can't sleep. And you get goofy and everything's funny. Well, I'm there. Come on around. I can make margaritas, whatever. Mimosas. Pop in, bars open. I started to say, yeah. I have not taken any medication other than some turmeric tea and ginger tea. I did a mixture, of course, and some chamomile for my nerves. Thank you, Lord, because I knew I was going to have the coffee. So this is my first cup today. I'm doing very well. Didn't feel good. Touched on the fact that I didn't like what America was doing, and it's so embarrassing. It's beyond embarrassing at this point. It's traitorous. It's treasonous. But apparently, those that are in control, shall we say, don't seem to either get it or figure that it doesn't matter. That when the terrorists get done with the Israelites or the Zionists or the Jews, however people can rectify that, they're coming for us next. They're not going to hit Europe first because they're spread all out through Europe. They can just light that tinderbox in time they snap a finger. It's basically, no, we are big Satan. Israel is little Satan. And that's how they literally designate us. And there have been several politicians that have done so, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Love the names. Practice that one. We've been calling him something. I don't know what the hell it was, but apparently it wasn't his name. It's like 40 years. I mean, like I said, I'm getting to the stage where I've been up too long. And so everything is cracking me up. I have my news streaming out of the back just to kind of keep an ear out. Don't even have earrings on today. I just kind of grabbed myself, showered, and got up here and decided to look stupid while I caught my cat. So, so I have Mother's Day on Sunday. My son usually takes me out to eat. And I usually get one of my hurricanes. I may stop in and get one before I get to his place because he texted me. He's very busy. They both work 18-hour days. We all have too long. And he asked if which one I wanted to do. Did I want to go somewhere or did I want to go to his house and just hang out and barbecue or whatever? And I thought, that's entirely in your court. I mean, it's Mother's Day. I'd be happy if you just show up with a card. I mean, I used to work for him. I mean, I set the moon and stars on that boy. Yeah. And so he knows that. And of course, I don't know if my grandson, Nathaniel, will be there because his mother is down below Macon as well. My other granddaughter is his wife's daughter and him. His first child, Nathaniel, is with a younger girl at the prom. And I actually helped her get ready. So got a grandson out of that. I think that's the timing we put it in. So anyway, I have to go. There's a mother here. There's a mother here. I'm kind of betting that my grandson will probably go down to see his mom. And that's very good. He knows I'm just grandma, he's got a mom. So maybe see his sister. If she hasn't left it, his older sister has already gone into the army as well. So yeah, I'm real proud of him. I mean, that's not an easy thing, even in today's world. Be it sloppy if I think so or not. They still have to be faster to get ready. I mean, polishing brass. I got 3 minutes sleep. I was had to measure it, make sure it was an inch from here, an inch from there, and like, so, the thing laid out on the bed, checking the creases. Any officer that wanted to could detain you on an infraction of the dress code, is the way I'll put it. You could be there doing push ups for a year. And then this had some drill and check on you, but you won't see them again. I was like, what the heck? Again, usually I fidget or have a cat that's in the way. I really want to get close to the camera because I don't think everyone knows that I'm really an old woman. So I kept seeing this streak on my glasses and I had cleaned them. I have a kind of a regime on that too. I tend to, get all the cats done, grab the shower while the coffee's making, and do all that. And I got to where I have to have glasses to see up close again. Not distance, but to see out close. Like here we are. Yeah, that's better. And everything has gotten dirty around here just in a day. 2 days technically, because I'm not touching it today. I'm not touching it till Monday. I'm so PO'd about the way it is at this point. I didn't expect to see that when I came out this morning. I was like, oh my God. And I don't think men know how good they've got it because women always had to work and then they had to come home and work. And then on their days off, they had to work. And I don't think it's appreciated by many. And I think it's appreciated by a few, but not by many. So I'm rather glad to just be retired and stay home. So I don't feel good today. Y'all go ahead. I'm good with whatever's going on. I knew I'd heard something break this morning, and some cat, we don't know which one, took my German ashtray off. And I'm thinking it was Pixie. She loves to throw things off. Mind you, I put that in my baby's diaper bag to bring that from Germany. So I was real pleased to see there. That was this morning. My husband left fairly early trying to beat the storms. The storms that came through here yesterday actually drove him home as well. Because he helps out with the backhoe U-Haul program that's down with his bosses and all that. So he just kind of, if he wants to do it, they'll call and see if he does. And if he doesn't, somebody else can do it. And John Lake gets him out of the house. I'm like, oh, yeah. Yes, he spends a lot of time upstairs. But it's nice to see him out once in a while. Like almost every day is really good. I doubt he watches these anymore. So it might just be me watching myself. We could all be a simulation. I wouldn't know. Don't want to. Keep me in suspense, Lord. Thank you. Yeah, they had this graduation week was what I was understanding of, like Columbia. Now that I found out Atlanta and so forth and so on have been hosting these things, and I'm seeing all these thousands, a couple of thousand at least people. And I'm like, how come we all have the same tent? Did Walmart have a sale? I mean, and I was like, do they have that many students there now? I am old because I didn't used to have that. Meanwhile, the campuses haven't changed once in 200 years. I mean, I know. So, yeah, that's tongue in cheek. So, yeah, I was like, so who's behind this? I was like, why isn't anybody following the money? And I mean, I've been so angry, and that's what they were doing, was making all of us angry enough to where we would voice an opinion on whether what they were doing was hate crime or not. It's hate crime, okay? And here's your diploma. So I noticed last night that they had also had to get them off of the MIT campus. One of the presidents did finally manage to resign this morning. Don't know why it took them a month, but there they go. They did resign. Somebody called for their resignation, but I can't remember who. Might have been Senator Cruz. Anyway, we still have the same Congress that we had before. They're still outnumbered by the other guys that say, bring me all your poor and huddled masses, and we will give them homes. Those of you who fought for your country and lost a leg, you're fine. Just get you a cardboard box. Yeah, yeah, they're good with that. Yeah, they're good with that. So yeah, they're good at poking us. I mean, they know which strike to hit. I and I try not to even get into it, and still I'm pulled into it. And I don't watch mainstream news, but I will go by on YouTube and say, "Oh, that's interesting." It's like a 2 to 3 minute spiel, and I'll go check that out. Like, okay, steam's coming out of my ears. Just stay away from this stuff because it makes me mad. So yeah, they know what they're doing as far as that's concerned about making us angry enough to either be involved or involved enough to complain to our neighbor, our friend, or whatever, since they are, they know everything. I also saw something that chilled me to the core yesterday. I got a video. I like to surf and see what I can find. I do not drop someone else's video. If you want to see the video, I'll give you a link, or I'll drop it after, touching base with whoever did drop it. If I can't, that'd be maybe a different thing. But I do want to, speak to whoever dropped the video and make sure that I'm not infringing on their rights. Again, if you want, you guys know this better than I do, and I actually went from ground zero. I remember when it was America Online, so the AOL. Oh my Lord! I still have a dinosaur computer upstairs. I mean, with the tower and yeah. When I finished working, that was just the beginning of the screens, the flat screens coming in. And then I had to take the last few years off before I really retired because of health, which did not make me happy. And so, moving on again. Yeah, one of the soldiers, I don't know which base, I thought they said South Carolina. I'm not sure. If it was South Carolina, it was probably Fort Jackson where I trained, boot camp, a lot of boot camp instead of Fort Jackson. And it showed a woman. She's at a grocery store. She's at the public exchange, PX, whatever you want to call it. She's on base trading. I mean, on base shopping. And her husband was due to meet her there. She's like, got one or two children with her. So she gets everything out, and they've done it. And whoever's doing the camera for her, or maybe she's holding it, I don't know, but she's being filmed. And she says, well, I'm going to see if this chip will work now that they put in our hands yesterday. I'm like, I was like, what? She went, chip, spit the receipt right at her. Took all of 10 seconds. Chip. Not in the wrist, in the hand. Right there. So the husband comes in, he sees this, and he doesn't want to say anything, of course, in public. So they're going out to get to the parking lot, and he's picking up the garbage. Stop that. You're making me crazy. He was picking up the groceries. Maybe I should like that. And he said, well, what was that all about? How did you do your card like that? And she said, honey, I told you. I made you an appointment too. They insist on putting chips in our hands to access our accounts now here on the base. At what point did this not show them that this is not a good idea? The husband went crazy. I give him credit. All right, baby. I got you. She looks big, but she's not but about 6 months. In any event, he had a fit in the parking lot and said, no, ma'am, I'm not doing that. Not for them, not for you, not for nobody. And I applauded him. I thought, that's a good man, And she says, well, I'm taking so-and-so, one of the kids. The other one's still like 2, maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. Yeah, get that, go up there. Right, kidding. And she says, well, I got him an appointment for next week. And he said, oh, no, you don't. She said, yeah, they won't do them unless they're over 3. So if they're going to make that decision, or she is going to make that decision for her kids as well. Of course, who didn't see that coming, That freaked me out, really. It still does. That they started it on our basis. Now, this was the only one this reporter was talking about, but if they did it at the one, they've either done it at all of them, or they intend to do a trial period, and then all of them will have that. And in order to access their bank account to use any of the basis facilities like shopping or whatever, then they have to have the chip in the hand by, I think she said 2026. Yeah, that one left me speechless too. I was so gobsmacked. I was like, what? I ran it back like 4 or 5 times. Like, no. Now, I had seen it being done either Switzerland or Sweden. I think it was Sweden, about a year ago, maybe a little over. Might be about 2 years now that I saw this. At that time, they were using people, or people were getting them. They had a lot of metal. I don't know what that's all about, but in the event, the guy, and they didn't use the anesthetic. They just, put it in wherever between two fingers, I think. And it turned on his car, turned on his apartment, and let him in, let him out. All bank access, all of that. That's great. Yeah, that's great. What if the grid goes down? Hmm? Yeah. Well, if the grid goes down, it won't matter if you have a card or not. It won't matter if you have a chip or not. It'll matter if you have real money. And even then, maybe not so much. They want to take everything over to digital currency shortly. And if that doesn't terrify everybody I've ever met, I don't know what will. Because it certainly scared the bejesus out of me. And I'm not a spring chicken. But it seems just like I was talking about this yesterday as a 20-year-old woman in Germany, of all places, talking about this very thing. And well, the barcodes was where we were at that point. Saying, no, we won't do this. And I said, we'll all do it. We'll not even notice we're doing it. And that was before the ATM machines came out, well before we had a debit card. ATM, you had to pay to use it. You could get a card from your bank, and it would take stuff out of your account. But it's called an ATM card. So whatever trade, and they wouldn't be taken at stores. You had to go to basically the ATM, get your money out. And that stayed, I think, until like probably between 2010, 2015. It doesn't seem like that long, but it probably has been nearly at least 15 years. But I was right when I had said that, because before you know it, I mean, I give a good example. My husband had somebody stealing his account, and they called us, and he came down and called me, and I called them, and they said they had just sidecarded it, blocked it. And we confirmed, though, that was not his purchase. So his card had been compromised. So they got me 2 or 3 months ago, but they stopped it at the bank. But they tried. And both of these was only it was less than $60, but they know we pretty much do the same thing. It's Walmart, it's bills, it's Walmart again, and some more bills, and Walmart again. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, we were right. How many of us are going to stand up there and do this? And mind you, even if we did, who's to stand up and say they're not going to go flip it, that switch? And you can't get in your apartment, and you don't have any money, and you can't get into work. They don't even know who you are. Oh, there you are. You're on TV. You're a murderer. They're looking for you. Yeah. That's a movie called The Net with Sandra Bullock. Came out in the 90s. Check it. Very good movie. Describes exactly what's going on here now. Going to have a few holdbacks, but not for long. That means they can control the currency. Help the drug trafficking a little bit. I mean, do they have cards? Oh. I think that's the best thing for a cold or whatever this plague is this time. I don't even think I turned. Did I turn on live chat? I'm sorry. I am a little bit off today. Okay, I put in a little something just to see if it showed up. I'm saying that a lot today. I don't like that. Anyway, so that kind of netted me out too. It's like, what next? I mean, because I've seen it already. The sun was blocked by the moon, and then the sun was done this, and then I don't even know where to begin. You've got volcanoes going off on like 6 of the continents. There's only like, what, 7? I think you have to count Antarctica for that. I'm not sure. My head hurts. So you might want to check me today and go, she had a bad day. Decided I would get off of politics, not look for what the Israelis were doing, because I really back the Israelis. I know exactly what these people started. I know exactly who they are. And if they didn't show the world who they were on October the 7th, then this world is wearing blinkers, blinders, whatever you put on the horse so they don't get, headshot 'cause they can't see you. That's what's going on in the United States. Our country has been eroded from within. This president has done more to harm America than anybody has ever done since before we were a nation on our own. I'm talking back when we were still under King George's rule. Color me wrong? You can try. I don't see it. I see a lot of things and I've been watching Trey Smith. He had put out a few more, and I like him. Um, he's he was one who believed in a man called Kim Clement. Kim Clement had his own. It's like an evangelical, but he seemed to prophesy. And when he did so, people kind of were filming him for the other stuff, and these things started coming true. That he said he was even interviewed in the 90s about it. I didn't find out about him until a couple of years ago through this Trey Smith, who's doing a lovely set of books on Nineveh, the Exodus. I mean, this guy knows his Bible. He really does. And the books are fantastic, and they are great for the coffee table. So Trey Smith is another one that you should look up. Get that. What's he doing, Snowball? This is one of my little kittens from a friend that we're boarding still, that my husband's very upset about because they don't seem to bring anything for them now. She did come take pictures with him a few days ago. It was Monday. My life, I swear. Sometimes I have to look close just to see that I'm not Lucille Ball. And so, watch out, little one. Yeah, mommy had a cigarette this morning. I know. Daddy doesn't like me to have very much, so I can put that out. This is probably why I didn't look to see if I turned on chat, because I'm just fidgeting. I'm fairly upset at what I've seen. I've got a kitten that's barely eating from a bottle that was brought to us in the middle of the night that they found in the middle of the street. She hadn't even cut her teeth. I mentioned it. And Gray Ghost, who ran in the house till she found my husband, has a real problem. She goes into anaphylactic shock like once a day lately, and we can't figure out what's throwing her in there. I can stop that. I can arrest it almost enough to get her under control. And that's with the gabapentin as a slight aid. It's been a lot of water. So so many milliliters water is all I give her. And I hit her with the albuterol. And at first, of course, that sounded scared her a lot. But we had to. This is the one I said that cost us $250, and that was what the vet's working with us. This is how we found out she is in anaphylactic shock. These are attacks, but we don't know what's causing them. And they didn't either. The only way they could find out is to charge us several $1,000s for lab tests. And nobody's got that. They can pay insurance for their kittens or their pets all day long. I hope it helps them. But it's just not what I understand about insurance. I mean, every time I had to have something done, had the best insurance, took half my check. Never did pay the shit. So it's kind of like, car insurance. And I've never had a ticket. All these years of driving, never had a ticket. They didn't do it, and they never did give none of that money back. Now, are they keeping it for a future event? Or if I never drive again, can I have it back then? Because it's my money. Y'all didn't do nothing. No, apparently it's not. It's their money. Okay, just checking. I mean, if you just can't make the stuff up. If I weren't laughing, I'd be crying at this rate. So we've done the things that I've caught up on YouTube, and we all know where politics are. It's still in the toilet. Apparently, Trump is winning some things on his trial. I haven't checked in. The Fannie thing, the Fulton County DA, which is Atlanta, is to have been doing something or the trial because he had a problem with ballots missing in Georgia. And they're still finding ballots in the dumpster. Now, I don't understand that, because it clearly will tell you when you go online and you want to Google or Bing, whatever search engine you use. If you go to search, how is the American president elected to office? It tells you the American president is elected by the Electoral College. And it doesn't say all of it. but they meet, the electoral college meets before you vote. So if they're the ones that bring in the new president or decide who's the new president, then why are we voting out in the rain in November? I thought. So, yeah. And apparently, this DA's position is an elected position. So either she has to resign or she has to be, I don't know, impeached. I don't know. It's just another thing that they've screwed. I mean, they have screwed Georgia running in the public eye, and they're still, all they did was have this guy taken off the attorney's team, the DA's team of attorneys. That's the way I put it. First, she came out with $960,000 that he billed him and been paid for. She had the money in her mattress. She always paid in cash because she keeps money in her mattress. Okay. So, that's one hell of a mattress. Does anybody know how much $1 million is? Or how much room it takes? How many mattresses do you have? Oh, although that's been changed now, since there apparently wasn't some hullabaloo, and the other guy had to be let go, who she was also having an affair with when she hired him for the Trump charges against him for ballot tampering, something along that line. I don't know, but I don't understand the whole thing because I don't see how he could have screwed it with an election um, at all because it was already done before November. Um, and yet on January 6th, you had the January 6th team going through, the Congress there. Had Pelosi put up a fence. That got out fairly quick. The one in Texas been running for 20 years, I think. I've taken a little longer, a little bit. So I said, okay, I've tried the news, tried everything. I'm still getting mad and I don't feel good. So, okay, let's just watch some of the paranormal. I love paranormal. I've been investigating since before the age of 10. And there's a lot, ladies and gentlemen, out there than we have been led to believe. And nobody, you swear on a Bible when you're in the courtroom. Just tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Okay. So that witness is to be believed because they swore in the Bible. But nowadays, and what I'll say for the last, say, 30 years or so, your word's not your bond. The word's not even considered, even apparently maybe still in a courtroom, but especially in paranormal, you had to prove it. And I've been seeing how they did this. They did a good job at it. I've been watching since, oh goodness, In Search of and all those programs in the late 80s and 90s. Sightings. I love Sightings with Dan Aykroyd's brother. I don't know if people knew this, but the Ghostbusters movies were written by Dan Aykroyd, who was one of the original Saturday Night Live um, actors, and he and Bellucci were really, really close. So it really tore him up for a little while, and I think it still does. But he's the character. He really is. You can also put in there, or you can have me if you're interested. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it was a great time. And he has his own line of vodka. So if there are any Dan Aykroyd fans out there, check that. Don't forget to go over to Mr. Rogan and say like, maybe subscribe. He's got a great one if you're not already on it. So like I said, I went to paranormal, said, okay, I'm going to look at this for a while because, that stuff's messing me up. And I haven't slept now. This is like day 3. And I've only missed one broadcast. So I was like, okay, I'll watch this. And these guys decided to try something by putting a mirror facing another mirror and putting a candle in between. And they apparently, I don't know if this is the case, but they supposedly have a death whistle. Let me say that again, a death whistle. Blow the whistle, and that's supposed to tell a spirit that's around that you want to interact with it. And I mean, did they have some interaction? At first, they're doing, and I know it's because I've used it, a reel-to-reel recorder. tape recorder. So he was always with the buttons, they're heavy buttons, and to back it up and then go forward, and you would hear something. They would answer. I mean, that's what electronic voice phenomena is. You hear him say EVP a lot. So I'm like, wow, okay, pay attention to this. Suddenly, all kinds of hell broke loose. And this is it's called, the one I'm talking about was Nerve Paranormal, NERV. And I know the guy is Dennis. He's also the Dark Ghost in Russia. This is from Russia. And Tim Morozov is another paranormal, uh, really good guy, really good investigator. They don't back down. If you want to see some really good stuff, check those two guys. And again, if you have any questions, throw them in here. I mean, I'll try to get to them. I may not get there today, but I will try. Let's see. So you have, I'm looking at this, watching all this, and then he decides, okay, to kick it into. I mean, they're already getting stuff, but then he decides to blow the whistle. The entire house shook. And I've only seen this a few times. And basically, the few times I've seen it was with either him or Tim or both of them together. And I mean, and the entire house was shaking. Bricks are falling out of the fireplace, freezer burns, turns over. I mean, it's scary. And these guys don't back down. I'm like, what are you doing? They're in this house in the middle of flipping nowhere, Russia. This could have been, I don't know where, but there was nothing around. Okay. I don't know why they do this either, but it's the dead of winter. And so they're cold. Of course, they've unpacked all their gear and they've done all this. When suddenly you hear something shatter in another room. And at first I thought it was the mirrors, but instead it was in the kitchen. It had thrown a plate down. And it started that way. And then the shaking of the whole place. And then they started into another room because they could hear something. I think that what I saw anyway, I'm going to say it was the door latch doing, that. And I've seen that on a lot of footage. And they decided to go ahead and go in. The door is open and it's doing that side kick thing where the middle piece is. And they go into that room, which I believe before them was like a dining room or something. This is a big home, but it's rustic, it's rural, it's Russian. And so they go into the room. And the minute the second guy steps in, who's actually filming Dennis, you don't really see him. And usually Dennis is also filming. I think he might have had his phone or he might have had a GoPro on. He likes those. And so suddenly you just see this huge chair thrown. I don't know how it missed him, except maybe their own reflexes were just that good. Because 1 second, I mean, they put their feet in kind of thing. And the next second, that chair, I mean, because that's all you could see coming at the camera. And I was like, wait. They still didn't back down. They did go back in the room to start packing up their stuff. Then the mirror shattered. Before that, they had blown out the candle. They were looking at the mirrors and talking about, well, where did we get this one or something along that line while they were packing out the stuff. And he just happened to stop and look down and the candle lit. Now, it had been several hours since that candle had been blown out. Suddenly, while he's standing there, that candle lights and the mirror on this side breaks and then the mirror on the other side breaks. And he's going, yeah, it's time to go. I'm like, well, I mean, it's the first time really kind of for Dennis anyway. I don't know who was filming him. Because this is his second channel. Like I said, he's Dark Ghost, so he doesn't show his face. But I can see his eyes and his voice. So, I mean, I can recognize him by that. But I've watched him a lot. So, again, I went to the paranormal thinking this is safe. It's just entertainment, kind of like me, but better. And at the same time, I'm like, it's what time I could maybe rest a little. Yeah, doesn't work. If you lose sleep, you still try. You think, okay, I'm at home. I can probably get some rest. No, not going to happen. So, I've got to run up and down and make sure that Ghost is all right because all the other cats are grown pretty much. And they just fuss because each one wants attention more than the other one. It's like that's where they're human. And yeah, it's been fun. So, and yet I had to throw the border kittens in here. And they weren't little, but they were only about adolescents. We had to just turn them loose, on your own. But the little kitten I couldn't do that with. And Gray Ghost is, we can't figure out what's causing these seizures. So that's hard every day. And since I don't feel well, I keep fanning me. I said, well, I'll just relax today, not get all this. And then I'll go, well, wait a minute, tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I don't want to do nothing today. So I couldn't find anything. And finally, I saw Trey Smith, and it was a new video he put out. And again, that's another good one who knows the Bible, who writes very interesting things. He's gotten to go and see these things. Like, I don't know if anybody knows, but somebody built the ark from the biblical instructions, and it's huge. Not only that, but these guys had to be biblical scholars. They had the whole thing would work. Even if you weren't just doing it as a gene pool, but by the small, the babies, it would have worked. It showed how they would have fed them, how I'm not kidding. It was amazing. I mean, I was like, wow. And I didn't know that was there. And I still can't recall where he was at, but he got to go and see that. And things like this. So if you really want to know about it, look him up, Trey Smith. Hit that like at least for him. He's really good. And if I could recommend, I would say his books are great, especially if you're just going to throw them on the coffee table. I usually put ghost books out on the coffee table. So meanwhile, their guest is panning through, go, what? Even today, paranormal is not something that people know a lot about. As I was saying, you used to be able to give your word. I saw this, I saw that. You still can in a courtroom. But if you tell them, hey, this ghost come up here out of the blue, my whole house was shaking. They're looking at you like, whoa, you are a ham. You a sandwich side of a picnic, girl. I mean, in all the years I've been doing this, it's been a long time. People's eyes just kind of glaze over, and they kind of like look like you're going to end up getting a lobotomy if they sit too close to you. That you'll have one too. And so I thought, okay, it's the 21st century. There's more things going on. Surely if people say they've seen things nowadays, people will believe it. Well, it's amazing how many people have some kind of an attachment, or a home will have an attachment, or an item will have what is called an attachment. I call them they're called peek around, peek behind. I call them peekaboos because they constantly lean out until whoever they're looking at, straight dead in the camera, sees them. It's a fear thing. And they're nothing but, it's not a shadow, but they call him a shadow man, but he's darker than dark, darker than black. Whenever they're standing in front of you, even if there's not starlight outside, there's no lights around, you can still see the sucker. Because, I mean, even on camera, because it shows up that there's a humanoid figure that's just like a black hole. It's just the most awesome thing. And I've been investigating that since my son saw one. And that's a good story, too. But they're getting very prolific. And again, I believe it's the fear thing that is feeding them because of what I've seen. I saw another video where it had this little like gnome pop up out of the earth and go run over there. Think gremlins, pointy hand, Smurfs, something like that. Yeah. Like you took an elevator. I was like, okay, that could be CGI. It can't all be CGI. I don't know if anybody else has noticed. I heard somebody say the Jordan was drying up, but I didn't find that. What I've been following was the fact that the Euphrates River has been drying up. They're the only two rivers left that describe where the Garden of Eden was. The Pihon, the Gishon, etc. It's all right there for Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden. Okay. If they say now that's been underwater, and that's where you don't have two rivers, the Beyond and the Gishon, because they're underwater now. Yeah, it's confusing. So there's a lot of those things that's been going on through my head. But in the fact that the Euphrates was drying up, again, I clicked onto that one. It's like 3 or 4 minutes. And you're hearing screams, voices, just weird sounds coming up. And it's like it's coming out of the holes that have been left by the receding water. And I'm like, holy crap, stop. Don't do this. I didn't think I would be looking at things like this either. I still say, and as you can tell, it must have agitated me. I just a little bit because I had to stop watching paranormal after those few clips for the day. because otherwise I'd have been on there all day looking for the next clip. What did drop in there? Yeah, and those two that I mentioned are good. I also like Twin Paranormal. They're fantastic. Although I did see, I didn't check into it. I didn't because it was a 40-minute view. Um, but they said it was how they ended ghost hunting, basically, I say, because this place scared them so bad they decided to quit ghost hunting. So I'm hoping to find time to watch that later today. That's fascinating because these guys are all pretty fearless. I give them credit. I'd have been running 10 minutes before they even saw anything or heard anything, probably throwing holy oil in a match behind me. I was like, these guys are going to come over here. What are you talking to? It wouldn't do for me to have been the camera person because I'd have been gone. There would have been no, oh, did you see that stuff? No. 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 Get away. There's certain things I think that we're seeing come up. That's why I mentioned these things. If you're interested in them, and don't believe, you don't do any research, but it's an interesting story, maybe from a coworker or something. And suddenly your doors start slamming. You're in front of you. You're in a fairly new home, been there a couple of years, like my son, and they're 12 years, I think now. In any event, all the kitchen things will fly open, and not just one at a time, just and it's all open, like in the movies. And I'm like, at what point does anybody start taking this seriously and start investigating this? Because something's happening here. You got the Mandela effect, for those who don't know. Some of us, like me, went to respect. Well, I paid my respects via the television because I obviously couldn't go to the President Mandela's. Now he was president. Back then, he had died it was the late 80s. He had died in prison. And I attended the funeral via the TV, like I did for Princess Diana. I don't think you can ever take that title from her. They call her Lady all they want. She was Lady Diana before he ever met her, screwed her life up. I don't like that word for that shit. I'm saying, you know. But anyway, yeah. So all this stuff is going on. I'm like, why isn't anybody? And they'll say, wow, that stuff is real. I can't believe it. Did you see that? I started filming because stuff was going on. I hear that over and over and over on these small clips that have been put up on YouTube. And they didn't believe, they didn't look into it, and yet the shadow guys in particular, it's usually them. It's usually a person who's alone, male or female, doesn't matter. It's really worse though when there's a child. I watched one and it took the baby who the mom had laid down in front of the bed, but further back, say about 10 feet on a blanket. She went to get a new bottle. And the minute she was out of the room, something dark just reached out and snatched this kid underneath the bed. She couldn't get in there. They had to lift the bed. The mom and dad had to lift the bed to get her out. And they heard her screaming. This was a toddler, still hadn't been bottling, but not a small baby. And the bed went way down. They had just kind of put that bed in there. She was still using a crib, but that would be her bigger bed. Um, Even I sat up and almost screamed. I was like, oh my God. But I always had my kid with me, so I used to think they surgically put him on his arm. You can get rid of the kid, he bounced back. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and I'm one of those ones who want to know the answer. Why? And they'll go, oh well, these people were hung here in 1823, and it's probably why it's haunted. And then they'll go in and they'll start calling people, that were killed there, and I'm like, wasn't this 230 years ago? Why do you think they're still here? What makes you go in there and go, okay, you guys, come out and talk to me because I know you're here. And yet, it does. The most haunted show of England, I say Britain, uh, is amazing. They even came to the States, but they've been on for, I think, 22 or 23 seasons now. They've been here a while. Um, The Dead Files, Steve and Amy. Amy's had to step back. And another young lady, I watched her. She's good. I hadn't seen her on this show, but it was a different one. And she was very good. So I was still a little disappointed, but I can understand why Amy had to step back. I know she's had over a decade on the show. And this girl was dealing with some evil stuff. Not one of those that she recorded or that they investigated, not one time did they get a Casper the Friendly Ghost. No. The thing she hated the most was to have to tell, and this was always involving her family, generally. I'd say 95% would involve kids, maybe not little kids, but kids of some type. And yeah, she should have resigned. I don't blame her. She really, like I said, there was never a friendly ghost there. I even put that in one night when I was on live chat years and years ago. And it was like, don't you ever get any that are, not mean or nope. Basically, that's probably what they're trolling for, so that's what they got. But yeah, I can see how it would have become crushing for her. And I never saw one time for her either. She didn't back down either. And she's facing these things. She can see them. We can't see them, but she could see them. And they knew she could see them. So she explained many times about the different stages of what this was all about. Now, to reference her and back to the dark shadow people, or I call them peekaboos, um, she said they're an interdimensional entity, that they are not native to the planet Earth, but somehow through a portal they come in. And in particular, the women that are having to deal with this usually live alone. As I said, the men too, but in particular, ladies living alone. And it seems to be like a 20 to 40-year old thing, not maybe to a little child, although there's been a couple. So yeah, they're doing that, and they're getting the fear they want. So what's causing them to increase? And that was what I noticed with the Dead Faust. She was getting a lot of these dark critters, and it was taxing on her. And generally, whenever they had the dark entity or the shadow man or whatever you want to call it, they also had other things going on. And she would go and tell a police artist who did the sketches for who was this person, is it their nose, this is the eyes, and all that. She would have them sketch it out. And then she would tell them, this is what I saw. I had a police sketch drawn out. And her partner, Steve, of course, had already filled him in on what he had found historically. He's a retired New York detective. And he adored Amy. He was not wanting Amy to go. None of us did, but we understood it. Oh, yeah. So he's going, what is going on with this stuff, Amy? I believe at first, even the first 5 seasons, he did not believe. But by the time Amy left on this particular season, again, 22nd, 23rd, he believed. And there are other people who have, again, not believed or even paid attention to it before, are freaked out. The churches can't help because, for one reason, if anybody remembers what Jesus said, don't trust nobody, their false church. So I think that's another reason they're having trouble with getting any help on the matter. But I can see my time is about up, and I made it. So I'm going to ring off so I can go and check on my kitten. And so I can go and check on the other kitten and make sure she's not seizing. And try to get something done. Pretty much probably it. If anybody has any questions, throw it down in the comments. I'll be happy to catch them as soon as I can. So those of you I have missed yesterday, I'm sorry. I adore all of you guys, and I can't thank y'all enough for coming in and listening to the old woman say anything of value anyway. So, again, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Come on out and see me sometime. And I don't have to worry about those guys from the universities protesting so much as we do the people who don't belong to the universities protesting on that campus. And that's for a different show. Toodles. When I found out I was pregnant was that I was asked not to go to teen mass anymore.